Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast on a Monday. It must mean it's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. James, how are you doing on this very last minute evening?
Oh, doing just dandy. I hope things are well with you as well. Yeah,
Indeed,
no,
indeed.
no
That's
complaints.
actually why I was rushing at the last minute. I was kind of just enjoying zoning out. It was just sort of a relaxing kind of moment. And then you texted and destroyed my reverie,
Yeah,
and then
sorry, man.
here we are.
We have a stream to kind of sort of do every Monday when we can.
When we can,
So
right?
here that was my
And
gentle
I'm
reminder.
like,
It was a
okay, I guess we're here.
blaring text for that. Um, all right, well, I'll roll into what I'm
Yeah,
working on today, and
what are you working on tonight?
all right. We'll pick up where we left off last week, which is
Mm-hmm.
the Warhog crashing into the saloon and then doing the roar and then running towards camera. We have
Mm-hmm.
some of the other stuff kind of set up with Calamity getting up on the table, but I'll keep working. I'll keep pushing forward and probably get into this stuff and set up Mitchell as well. He's down here still in sketch form.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, anybody who's joining us, this is where Eric and I hang out in the writer's room while I animate. And we talk about pop culture stuff while animating and talking about Calamity Jane
Mm-hmm.
sometimes and
Yeah.
just kind of doing random stuff while animating and nerding out about stuff. And I know, Eric, you've got plenty to bring up today. Well, at
Yeah, I
least two
mean, yeah,
games.
pick your poison, man. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing that I've been uh the most engaged with recently is the latest Splatoon game, Splatoon
Mhm.
Raiders, which, I mean, unless you're living up under a rock or just not interested in video games, you've probably heard of. It is the first intentionally single player designed Splatoon game in the franchise. And the original Splatoon came out on the Wii U back in, I think, like 2013, something like that, 2012, 2013.
Sounds about right.
So the franchise up to this point has largely been multiplayer focused. There's been some, dipping the toes into the water of single player, but the game was originally conceived as a multiplayer game. And now they're sort of branching into the intentionally single player space, and it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. uh really
Where would
been
you
enjoying it.
where would you put it? So, because it's single, so I was surprised when you told me that this is a single player game because again, I was expecting them always to be multiplayer.
Hmm.
So where would you put this in the hall of Splatoon games now at this point? Like where would you rank it?
It's
Yeah,
a
I know it's kind of early, but
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Honestly, I hadn't played Splatoon 3 at all until this had come out. When Splatoon 3 came out, I kind of wasn't really done with the second one. So I I didn't jump on the third one, kind of let it go by the wayside a little bit. And then this came out, and obviously it draws a lot from the mechanics and the characters of the third game. And so I sort of was like, all right, I'll bite, and jumped into the third one. I've really only scratched the surface of that one, so I can't. There's a The third one, I think, of the mainline series 1, 2, and 3 is without a doubt the most robust. It has the most varied of game modes, has the most weapons and that kind of stuff. So from a raw content standpoint, I would say Splatoon 3 is probably uh the biggest game. But in terms of longevity, Splatoon Raiders for me it takes the cake, right?
hmm.
I mean, and I'm biased, of course. I tend to be more of a single player gamer.
Mhm.
Um and Splatoon has always been fun. Um but in days gone by, Nintendo's matchmaking systems weren't exactly revolutionary. And at least with Splatoon 1 and 2, once the game matured and the more casual players kind of bled off and the only ones that were left were the hardcore players, the matchmaking got really, really bad. I will say with
Yeah.
3, just coming into it now, the matchmaking it's pretty good. I mean, it does what it's capable of. It pairs you with teams that it can, given the people who are still playing the game. Um, I have just scratched the surface of the single player aspects of Splatoon 3. Those seem fun. Um, wow, this got really off the rails. Let me bring it home for you real quick. As a single player experience, Splatoon Raiders takes home the cake. Like, there's just no contest. And it's because it was designed as a single player experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a Splatoon game in total, um, I suspect Splatoon 3 is probably the most robust of the whole franchise. But I'm still cutting my teeth with it, so it's hard for me to weigh in any sort of definitive capacity.
What I find interesting about Splatoon Raiders, I guess the latest one, right? Is they they specifically designed it for single player,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's almost like taking we were talking about Mario Kart before the stream went live. Like it's like taking Mario Kart and deciding to make it a single player experience. To me, I
Mm-hmm.
always thought Splatoon was just paired with multiplayer. It was just naturally just a multiplayer game. Like why would you ever want to do single player? But the more I think about it, like this Doom is a single player experience. So I guess they're trying to kind of chase that kind of through line
I think
for
so.
their property.
The guys who do the Splatoon games, they are sort of I don't know the full story, but for whatever reason, the team that does the Splatoon games has a pretty significant well of trust from the mothership, so to speak.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And they are given carte blanche to do whatever they want, effectively. And they have dabbled in single player since the very first game, but it's always been a secondary component of the overall product. And I just get the sense that the team wanted to try to cut their teeth reversing the formula, in a matter of speaking, where
Hmm.
the primary experience is balanced and designed to be a single player game, but there is still multiplayer. The whole game you can play in co-op, but there is, as near as I can tell, and I'm pretty far into the game at this point, so I feel like I know at this point, there is no PvP at all in Splatoon Raiders. It is
Okay.
all multiplayer is PvE. It's all cooperative. Um, and it
S-
mixes the formula up a lot because of the single player focus and the fact that even the multiplayer is cooperative based.
Okay, so when you're saying PvE, you just have to. So you when you join a lobby on multiplayer, you're playing against other AI bot type characters. You never shoot each other, that type of
Mm-mm.
thing. It's
Nope.
never a free for all.
Nope. And
Okay.
as far as I'm aware, I mean, I've only scratched the surface on the sort of, so it has like a Dark Souls style. Someone requests help and you can jump into their game world
Okay.
temporarily to help them, kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very clearly inspired by Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've done that a few times because you get like some extra rewards and that kind of stuff for doing it. Um, and uh, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. That's so weird.
You were
Um,
talking about it being Dark Souls like as far
yeah,
as player versus everyone.
yeah,
You only play against bots. You don't play against each other at all.
yeah.
Find
No,
that find that, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, okay. So there is no there is no system whatsoever to play
Hmm.
against. Oh, sorry. Yes, now I remember. I go off of these tangents and fall in love with my own words and forget what I was saying. Um, no, there is no PvE in the limited exposure that I've had to the multiplayer. There's no like friendly fire. There's no being able to hurt each other. It's all like truly cooperative.
Is that the case with all the Splatoons?
Um,
Like, or
so
can you do versus? Can you actually play against each other and you know?
yeah, in the previous Splatoon games, you could do I don't think that there is friendly fire in any of the Splatoon games, actually. So
Okay,
anybody on your team, you cannot hurt them. Period.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and in the other Splatoon games do have local multiplayer, but I don't know anybody who has actually ever played Splatoon local multiplayer. Because this is one of the interesting things about it, is, Nintendo is obviously the reigning champion of couch co-op even to this day, but Splatoon, for as long as it has existed, whether you're playing online or multiplayer, it doesn't have split screen at all.
Yeah, which is really weird. Even Mario Kart has that for
Mm-hmm.
local and again and during battle mode you play against each other. You can actually
Mm-hmm.
damage each other and you try to destroy the balloons, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I find it, I've never played a Splatoon game. I've only seen online, gameplay footage and all that stuff. It looks like a fun game. I just didn't have
Mm-hmm.
time to play it, but I appreciate it from afar. It's a really, well, a slick looking game. What I would expect from a Nintendo first
Mm-hmm.
party flagship type of style game. Even the icons you get in the Nintendo OS and all that stuff that are all Splatoon characters, they're all really cool looking and really
Mm-hmm.
design really cool. A lot of thought put into them. But yeah, I am surprised though, considering even Mario Kart, their true flagship of a game these days, has player versus player, but then Splatoon, which would I would think is a natural for that, does not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think that they're trying to position this um as a kind of a different offering within that franchise, right? I think
uh-huh.
that if I were the creative director on this project, the way I would be pitching it is we're trying to make a Splatoon experience that doesn't cannibalize Splatoon 3, which is the current multiplayer offering, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so I think from a creative direction standpoint, there was probably a design pillar that was, are we cannibalizing Splatoon 3? Right.
So what you're saying though is if you want to play multiplayer, true multiplayer, dig out your library of games and get Splatoon 3 to do that.
Yep.
But if you want to play the latest iteration, you're doing this version, which is single player. That's kind of
Exactly.
what their intention is.
Yeah.
Huh.
That is my sense. It's like they're trying to keep the game as contemporaries to each other, that playing Splatoon 3 does not negate Splatoon Raiders and vice versa.
Okay.
Um at least from a franchise positioning standpoint, from a design philosophy standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, that is the vibe that I get from this game. That in every way, shape, and form, it goes out of its way to sort of say this is intended to be different from Splatoon 3. Don't stop playing that game. We still want you to keep playing that game. That is still very much a living, breathing product, right?
Hmm. And then did Miyamoto have anything to do with this Splatoon game at all? Did he have any
Mm-mm.
influence, or he was just
No,
completely hands off?
no, absolutely. His name is nowhere in the credits of that game, as far as I'm aware. Um,
Wow.
and I actually read an interview with him recently where they were like, so he is actually not even in the games division of Nintendo anymore. He has completely moved over to the mass media side of things.
So he's become
And
he's just a flagship ambassador type person now these days, right?
to a certain extent, he is actively like he did have a very active hand in the production of the Mario movies, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So he's
Yeah.
still very much working. He's not like a figurehead or anything like that, but he has moved away from the games division almost entirely. And I was reading an interview. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because I was reading an interview just but like a couple of days ago, where they were asking him like, "Do you think you'd ever like, work on another game?" And he's like, "I don't think so. I think that this is. I think my time in the games division is done. I'm moving on to something else."
Man,
Um,
it's kind of sad to hear that,
yeah.
but also, I mean, I mean, as a Nintendo fanboy, and I am too, not as much as you, but
Well, fair.
I do, that does make me kind of sad. Like, I mean, that's pretty much him saying, "I'm retired from games," and
Yeah.
and he's not making an official announcement in a swan song. This is my final game. Nothing. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm done with games." Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you know,
But he's left a pretty good legacy in his wake, in my opinion.
yeah, arguably the best game designer of all time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. There's very few people I would put ahead of him. I can't think of one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and how with how much time, with how much he's, with decades and decades of stuff, that's where he's at.
Yeah.
And even that, even into his old age, when he was still kind of influencing games, even with a couple of sentences here and there, there's a certain kind of magic that he kind of has on a game that now I don't think it will ever get replicated. And it's kind of tragic to hear that he's not going to touch another game.
The thing that
Um,
and I won't belabor the point of disclosure day anymore because we have beaten that dead horse to the point where it is resurrected and then we killed it and continued beating
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, uh, but he has stayed relevant even into his old age. I mean, he's in his mid 70s now.
Mhm,
Um, and the fact that he has such a, I mean, still largely unimpeachable reputation.
mhm.
And I mean, I don't, people really dig the Mario movies. People have, really dig the
Yeah.
sort of the Pikmin shorts that they've done and a lot of the multimedia stuff that they've branched into. And he has a hand in that. So, I don't know if he sort of like, I don't have any more ideas to contribute to the games side of things, so I'm going to take my creativity elsewhere, or if he just sort of, this was a natural evolution of his creativity.
Mhm,
But unlike, his contemporaries, for instance, Steven Spielberg, he is still producing and creating stuff that is of relevance to today's generations, right? Spielberg at this point, in my opinion, is past his prime, long past his
mhm.
prime,
Yeah,
and
sure.
he's kind of become a dinosaur and almost a victim of the weight of his own success, right?
Yeah.
Um, Miyamoto never crumbled of the weight of his own importance, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. Like, so what is his official last game that he had a lot, that had direct hands on? Like, to me, I mean, like, I know Metroid Prime, you talked about being in the helmet, for
Hmm.
example. That was a profound note that I think
Hmm.
really influenced that game. But I can't
Hmm.
remember what was after that. What was his actual official game that he worked on?
I can't
Where
tell you. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you the specific game, but the last property that he had any significant influence on was Pikmin.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure he didn't have much to do with Pikmin 4 beyond the final go no go on it, because Pikmin is like a true favorite child to him. Like, Pikmin is
Hmm.
one of his favorite franchises that he ever created.
Hmm.
And um and so I don't know that he had anything to do with Pikmin 4, but at least even up through Pikmin 3 he had at the very least a design consultant position on it.
Hmm. Hmm.
um and it that is as much as I know, at least. So I don't know
Hmm.
if he, I think every once in a blue moon he'll probably still come over and, as they say, flip the table over. um but generally speaking, yeah, no, he hasn't really had any impact on any of the games that Nintendo's produced, and I'd argue even the last 5 or 6 years, maybe more.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, so with that being said, I mean, I never played Pikmin, so I have the Pikmin games actually. I just haven't had time to play them.
Hmm.
So, and I know I'm sitting on, I'm sure, really cute gems of a
Hmm.
games to play.
I loved all four
Um,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, but so for me, I think it has to be. my favorite Miyamoto game's got to be Super Mario Brothers 3. I think
Mm,
even over World. I think
mm,
that's the one that I mean, and you can go all you can span so many of his games, and any
mhm,
of them are winners.
mhm.
Any of them are awesome. And it's funny, even his mediocre games, they would be considered like the pinnacle of other game designers' careers. I think that's how talented he was.
Yeah, just
But
a
I think
true
Mario,
natural gift.
yeah, but Super Mario Brothers 3 to me was probably the pinnacle of his powers. To me, like where it was just amazing. And I mean, Mario. I mean, I know a lot of people have an affinity for Super Mario World and Super Nintendo. I get it. It was fine, but it didn't have the same wow factor to me as 3 did. I don't know how you feel. Like where you put, what do you
So,
think of a?
at least in that era of 2D Marios, I do prefer Super Mario World to Super
Hmm.
Mario
Hmm.
3, but I think for me his true apex was, even though it is kind of not aged as well as it could have, understandably, is Super Mario 64.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm. Yeah,
I
that's
think,
another good one.
yeah, for me, like, 3D games had existed before Super Mario 64 came out. You had, going even back as far as like Wolfenstein 3D, right? Like the
Yeah. Hmm.
idea, and I mean, Star Fox on the Super NES, right? So like the idea of navigating a 3D space um wasn't novel. What was
Hmm.
novel was the idea of navigating a 3D space and also having the ability to control the camera independently of your
Yeah,
character, right?
it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like such a nothing burger now, but I mean, for anybody who's old as fuck as we are, um like, you're playing Tomb Raider, you're playing Doom, you're playing Crash Bandicoot. All of these games have very fixed cameras or very sluggish cameras. Like 3D games before Mario 64 uh were a novelty, right? But of limited opportunity, in my opinion.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um and that's not like besmirching the good name of any of those games, because they're all like classics in their own right. But what Mario 64 did, and by today's standard, the 3D camera is almost unusable. But in 1996, when that game came out and you could rotate the camera about around
Yeah.
Mario to get a different perspective, to make a
Hmm.
particular jump or particular
Yeah.
positioning
Yeah.
easier,
100%.
it was an absolute revelation, right? I mean, it changed what 3D
Yeah.
gaming was going to be, right?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's absolutely true.
yeah, I mean, the Nintendo 64 controller was built around Super Mario 64,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so yeah, to me, that is sort of the pinnacle.
The height.
Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
I think Zelda Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece of visual design and puzzle design and sort of world building, but Mario 64, from the standpoint of just pure innovation in game design,
Hmm.
it really just doesn't get any better than Mario 64, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a very good example of his powers for sure.
Yeah.
I totally. That's funny. It's funny when Mario 64 came out. I kind of overlooked looked it. I felt like it was a gimmick
Hmm.
of sorts. I remember working in a retail store and like, yeah, this is the latest thing Nintendo's trying to grab your attention and try to get you to buy their console.
Hmm.
But in hindsight, I was clearly wrong because that analog stick was
Oh
a
yeah.
huge influence hardware wise and software wise. It was such a huge influential game. And then I
Hmm.
was sold when Ocarina of Time came out. I had no choice because it was a Zelda game. And then I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, yeah, this was. But what's funny is I never went back. I never played Mario 64 all the way through.
Hmm.
Never beat it. Never. Yeah, I mean, the history of those games, I always kind of feel like I want to go back and play it, but then when I try to
Hmm.
play it now, it feels so antiquated that
Right.
I have to have a different lens to play it,
Yeah.
and it's hard to kind of do that.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, even now, like even with my memories of playing it, as a 15-year-old,
Yeah.
oof, uh, and experiencing this for the first time, uh, even now I go back and I find Mario 64 hard to play now, right? Like
Yeah.
by I mean, it's the classic. What is it? Is it Einstein who said, if there's any success that I have, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants, or maybe
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
Newton, I don't remember, but some
Yeah.
scientist said that, implying that they could not be where they are were it not for the brilliant minds that came before them, right?
Mhm.
Mario
Mhm.
64 is that in a lot of ways. I think a lot of the modern conventions, standards, best practices that exist now have their genesis in Super Mario 64. And like the analog control, the independently moving camera,
Mhm.
the hub and spoke world design, like that lasted for
Yeah.
god eons.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um uh and so yeah, it is a progenitor of modern gaming, but modern gaming is refined, it's perfected the formula, it's iterated on what works, it's abandoned what's not worked. And so going back to Mario 64, which is very rough and very archetypal, um it is, yeah, it's hard to play, even putting yourself in the lens of that era. It's
Yeah.
still a very hard to play game.
Yeah. Yeah. What's funny though is I'll still like once in a while if I get an itch, I'll play Donkey Kong, for example. And I
Yeah,
love that. It's
yeah,
another one that I
yeah,
that I
yeah,
put
yeah.
as one of the top Miyamoto style games. I love playing that game. But that one, I guess maybe it's because it's 2D, and so the simplicity of it, it's okay. I have forgiveness for that game, for the retro feel. Whereas Mario 64, it's just on the cusp of being technologically a technological marvel at the time, and so I know that, and then I can't put retro glasses on because
Mhm,
it's crossing too far over into
mhm,
technology, and like it's like, well, why didn't yeah, yeah, it's
mhm,
just
mhm.
it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they were inventing and exploring things that had never been done before with that game. Like
Yeah.
even with the acknowledgement that there were 3D games that were out at that point. I mean, I don't as hard as it is to play Mario 64 in 2026, try playing the original Tomb Raider 1 on PlayStation 1 in
Yeah, yeah,
1995 or 1996 when that came out. Um,
yeah,
there was no analog controls. There was
yeah,
no camera control
yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah,
The camera always just tried to stay behind Lara
yeah,
Croft,
yeah,
right? Um, and they struggled with maneuvering the camera to a position so it wasn't intersecting with the wall. Like playing the
yeah.
original Tomb Raider now is like the original PlayStation 1
Mhm,
original.
mhm.
I find the original Tomb Raider even less playable than Mario 64 is by today's
Yeah, I'm
standards.
sure. Yeah. It's been, again, because I'm old.
Yeah.
Like I remember getting that game on PC,
Mhm.
and I can't remember if you had to use the mouse, but I remember those keyboard controls that you had to kind of use
Mm.
with it. So I didn't even experience it on the PS1. The PS1, I feel like it came later, but Tomb Raider on the PC was its own beast altogether.
Yeah,
It was an amazing
that's a good
game
point.
too.
Yeah.
It was
No,
an amazing
100%.
game.
Absolute classic. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But if you think back then, I don't think there was, I don't, yeah. We have to Google it, but Tomb Raider came first before Mario, I think,
It
right?
did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, almost
Yeah,
100% certain that Tomb Raider came out in 95.
yeah.
Mario
But
was 96.
there was no hardware because they were relying on Doom controls pretty much to play that game, but you were a
Mhm.
third person
Mhm.
style game. It was an incredible game. I bought that from my buddy. I bought them like 1, 2, and 3. Whenever they came out with a new one, I was buying them for him. But I remember playing it, at his house on his keyboard. I was like, man, this is really
Mhm.
cool, and it's worth it just to go through the challenge of playing it with the keyboard. That's again, I know we
Yeah.
talked about this. The design for word processing,
Yeah.
and here we are using
You
two double
playing
Uzis to shoot a
right.
T-Rex or a
Right.
bear. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
wow, yeah. So yeah, when Nintendo came out with that analog stick, it was a huge changer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then yeah, Sony upped the game by adding the second one on there, and it's never really, deviated from that. There's been explorations in different form factors and button layouts, but generally speaking, ever since the N64 and the PlayStation DualShock, it's been two thumbsticks, a D-pad, four face buttons, and four shoulder
yeah,
buttons.
yeah, and it's worked out great. I mean, they've
Yeah,
really had no need. I mean, I think what do we get? We get the shoulder buttons, but then eventually they added an extra the bumper buttons, and then if you get
yeah,
the fancy
they
controllers, you get the little extra triggers
that's
underneath,
that's
right?
true. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, but
the second the R2 and L2 buttons got turned into more triggers than just actual buttons,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, Nintendo is played around. I mean, they're always playing around with things, but even their more like experimental stuff with the Wii and the Wii U, they still had traditional dual analog stick controllers that you could play with. So
yeah,
they knew that there was a standard that they really needed to support, and so they always had that option. And it's funny, like we're just rambling at this point, but the Wii U Pro controller, which never really caught on, but I loved because it did something that I had been wishing consoles had done for a long time, which was um, you know, on the left side of the controller, the analog stick is on the outside and the D-pad is on the inside, unless you're PlayStation, right? Which everything is on
mhm,
the inside. Oh, the two
yeah,
analog sticks are on the inside.
yeah,
But the standard has become on the left side, analog stick on the outside, on the right side, analog stick on the inside, right?
yeah, hmm,
The Wii U Pro controller put the analog sticks on the outside and the D button and the face buttons, the ABXY on the inside, and I always loved that. It always felt more comfortable to me. It always made more sense to me, and no one ever adopted the standard of controller configuration.
huh. And so even now, you never had a controller like that Wii U since then. It's
No, no, yeah, the Wii U
never
controller
been
was the Wii U classic controller, whatever they called it, Pro controller, whatever, was like seriously overlooked um
hmm,
controller, partially because Nintendo, I mean, like the whole point of the Wii U was the screen, so like the reason to just use the traditional like non-screen controller was there was no reason for it. But um it was like even when the Switch came out, I actually bought one of those 8-bit the IM 8-bit brand
hmm,
wireless adapters to
hmm.
make it so that I could use my Wii U controller on my Switch. And I used that a lot actually in the early days of the Switch.
Wow, you were that sold on or
Yeah, yeah. And I eventually gave up the Ghost because I think the battery died in it or something and I just couldn't keep a
hmm,
charge anymore. But yeah, we've talked about this offline a little bit, but like the Wii U was a real diamond in the rough that just through a
yeah,
lot of like missteps and timing issues just did not find the audience that I think it might have found these days.
yeah. It's a shame. Every time we talk about random games and then we bring up the Wii U, it's always like, yeah, there's a little bit of FOMO. That's
Mm-hmm.
the one console I skipped out on, I think, in the Nintendo's generation of consoles.
There's a
Where I
couple
kind
of
of want to go
true
back.
gems on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Zelda,
Oh
Wind
yeah, Wind
Waker on
Waker
there.
HD was like, yeah, second to
Yeah.
none, best version ever.
And you were telling me that the um, Arkham Origins game was really good with the map, I think, right? You were
Yep.
telling me that?
True, like
Yeah.
real-time map. You didn't have to pause the game. You could just look down, tap on the screen, set a waypoint instantly. Like it
Yeah.
was it was effortless and seamless. It was phenomenal. I mean, Arkham Origins is a much maligned game for a bunch of reasons, but
Hmm.
I think unjustly to a certain extent. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, in as much as Arkham Origins is, uh, you know, any version of it, in my opinion, the Wii U version was actually like the sleeper best version of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And the more you mention it, the more I think about, well, it'd be kind of fun to kind of have that experience of kind of playing the games with that setup and just to see what the Nintendo Labs and R&D team were trying to kind of convey,
Hmm.
which which can be, which is sad and frustrating because sometimes I think they kind of come across some real cool ideas that they never expand upon ever again. There's other ones I think that are considered that I could you could consider stinkers, like,
Hmm.
again, and opinions may, of course, our opinions may vary. I think you like the Virtual Boy a lot. I
Well,
found it
yeah.
tiring to
I
play.
mean,
You
like
know,
there's baggage there though, right? I mean, like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's different. Yeah. I mean, as an actual product, no, but as a kid who's buying his first video game console with his own money, you know, it hits differently for me. There's like a
That
deep
was your
seated, like, you know, entering adulthood kind of vibe with that
wait. So
particular console.
that was your first console you bought
Yeah,
with
with
your
my
own money,
own
kind of
money.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Yeah,
Yep.
that's different. There's no way to counter that.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, I think for me it was the Super Nintendo was my first console that I
Mm.
bought with my own money, working at the job and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So very different vibe then. And after that, then I bought again. I think the ones I skipped out one was the Virtual Boy and the
Mm-hmm.
Wii U. I think with the only two
Mm.
that was never sold on. But yeah, that's funny. Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, from that point forward, everything I was my own money. The Game Boy Advance. Well, that's not true. Well, I can't remember which came out first, the N64 or the Virtual Boy. They came out around the same time. The My parents bought me my N64. But that was the last console that was not purchased with my own earned money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun, kind of fun to go down memory lane and kind of revisit
Mm-hmm.
the consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So other than that, though, have you had a chance to go see? Did you go see Odyssey or?
No, so we this is a whole thing. We we've been trying to
Mhm.
um we've been interested in, like, me and some friends have been interested in seeing it in the actual native format that Nolan shot it in,
Yeah.
which is the 70 millimeter 1.45 by 1 IMAX aspect ratio. I think that's
Yeah.
right. 4:3. I don't remember the exact number. Anyway, it's irrelevant. Uh but at least, like, we do have in Atlanta, we do have a single true 70 millimeter IMAX screen. There's one in the
Hmm.
entire Atlanta area, which is a
Hmm.
massive metro. Um, we've looked; it is sold out on that screen two
Yeah.
weeks in advance. Like, as
Yeah.
far ahead as you can buy tickets, it's fully sold out. Right?
You sold me on this whole 70 millimeter version of it to see it. So I started
Mm-hmm.
looking online, and yes, the normies can go see it in IMAX without the 70 millimeter. All that's available, but the
The
70 millimeter
true
in
IMAX.
LA,
Yeah.
you couldn't do it. But I did get tickets, balcony seating, in about another 2 weeks to go see it. So I
Okay.
did buy tickets. So I am going to go see
Okay.
it in 2 weeks.
So,
Only based on snobby talk, forced
well,
snobby talk and pretentiousness to see it in this
yes,
way,
yes.
because you convinced me on that.
Well, yeah. I
And
mean,
no, I
like,
won't.
yeah,
You kind of have to. I mean, once you
yeah.
told me about it,
I mean,
you
he
know.
shot it with that lens. He shot it at that
Yes.
aspect
Yeah.
ratio. His
Yeah.
director of photography was framing shots with that
Yeah.
aspect ratio in mind, right? So if you seeing it in any other aspect ratio, you're not seeing what was actually shot of the movie. And you know, we've talked about this. I've seen comparison shots of what's on the IMAX and what's on like a standard widescreen cinema screen.
Uh huh.
Nolan does not care about anybody who wants to watch this on a standard aspect ratio.
Man, such a bummer, man.
Literally all he did was just chop off the top of the frame, chop off the bottom of the frame, and like, here you go, plebeians. Here's your
Ah,
stupid movie. Um and so yeah, it's a real bummer. Now, a friend of mine saw it, like he was like, fuck this noise, I'm not gonna wait God knows how
okay.
many months to go see it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
he just caught it at the local, multiplex. And he said it's still great. Like,
Hmm.
but he also, you know, doesn't like, these are things that aren't important to him like they are for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, sure. He's got a
Yeah, he's a
normal
normal
perspective on.
person. Yeah.
Yes.
He's not a psychopath like I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Which I envy in a sense, but I just knew when I went to go see it in normal mode, it'd be bugging the back of my mind going, I do want to see this in the way that this nut job
yeah.
wanted to film the movie.
Yeah.
And it's driving me nuts, and I'm not gonna, because you only have one opportunity to see it this way, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the only
Ah,
you can like the one thing I will say is, like, potentially he could release the IMAX aspect ratio cut of the movie, and you could watch it
uh-huh.
on a regular television with like just black bars on the side of the screen, so you could at
Okay.
least appreciate the cinematography in the way it was shot, which
Okay.
frankly I would be okay with. Like,
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
the
Yeah.
size of the screen doesn't actually mean anything to me. I don't give a shit about that.
Hmm.
I do like a big movie screen. That's great, but like, bigger doesn't always necessarily mean better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, especially in like an IMAX movie, where if you're sitting in the front row, you're basically not looking at the movie. You're looking at a distorted version of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, because the screen is just so massively large. You have to be kind of farther back, even just to perceive it, right? Which, at
Hmm.
least to me, and we can get into the debate about all this, but at least to me, defeats the purpose. Like, if your screen is so big you have to redesign the layout of your theater to accommodate it, then really, what are you actually accomplishing?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's an aside. I would be happy if he just released the original aspect ratio of the cut on movies. I'd be fine with the black bars on the side of the screen, as long as I can
Hmm.
actually see how the movie was shot and intended to be viewed, right? Like,
Hmm.
as long as and I'm going to get super fucking pretentious here, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't have a better term for it. As long as the mise en scène is as intended, then I'm fine. I don't need to see it on a 200-foot screen
Hmm.
TV, as long
Yeah.
as the cinematography is as intended, right?
Yeah, you want to see the composition. You
Yeah.
want to see how he wanted to tell the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
which I think, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. So here I am. I'm gonna go see it.
yeah.
Um, and I'll wait. And I'll wait. So, what are you gonna do? Are you still trying to find tickets, or what are you gonna do?
Honestly, we were talking, Katie and me and a friend of mine who want to see it. We're sort of like, I mean, I might, when the dust settles, still drive up to the IMAX theater.
Uh huh.
But I think we're all sort of like, you know what, screw it. And we're gonna just try to catch a showing on the on a regular screen.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
just to
we
at
could
least
definitely.
to like have some experience of it, because like the zeitgeist is, all Odyssey all the time right now.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and and so yeah,
Cool. Well, we'll reserve a review for that movie, I guess, when we both kind of sync
have
up
a
and
chance
see
to see
it.
it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, we've been going
Um,
for a minute here. Where are you?
I'm pretty good spot. I was just gonna say we can wrap up for tonight. Got the Warhog roaring, so the
Mm-hmm.
finished art's there. Yeah, and we're in pretty good shape for tonight.
Excellent.
Even got Mitchell squatting down as he
Oh,
preps
nice.
for the
Excellent.
ram
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything else. But yeah, so we're overall though, I think we are in good shape for
Cool.
tonight to call it good.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, we'll call it there then. If you're watching this now or in the future. consider heading on over to calamityjane.rocks. That's with a K. That'll take you to our Patreon site. You can subscribe and help us make this cartoon a reality. We're on YouTube and Facebook. You found us, so you know that already. We're also on Instagram at Calamity Jane Salamander. It's just another place where we update the stuff. So head on over to there and follow us if you're curious about what we're up to. In the meantime, I think we'll be back next week. I don't think I have any reason to not be.
Same here. So
Yeah,
I plan on
so
being here hanging out.
yeah, exactly. So in the meantime, stay safe out there, everybody, and have a great night.
Good night.